You're watching KOAT Action 7 News.
We have told you about the developmentally disabled woman who died at the border in El Paso from horrific injuries. Well, police say her caretaker was trying to get her medical treatment in Juarez to try and cover up her abuse. Well, tonight, for the first time, that family of the woman is talking with Target 7's John Cardinelli.
And they told him they thought something was wrong.
Mary Malero was a part of a federally funded program that allowed people with disabilities to be cared for in private homes rather than institutions. Target 7 has been investigating why the state was not doing routine visits on these homes. After Malero's death, the state found an additional 30 cases of confirmed abuse, and for Malero's family, they're hoping her death will prevent others. This is the last photograph Anastasio Malero has of his sister.
That was the last time that we got to spend time with her.
These images are all he has left.
There are a lot of people who loved Mary. A ton of people.
But what happened inside this Rio Rancho home are images he wants to forget.
My first thought is the devil does exist. Because who in the world could do something that they did?
These are some of the injuries that happened to Mary.
There's no reasons at all why they did what they did to my sister.
Prosecutors say Mary Malero was being cared for by this woman, Angelita Chacon. The state paid Chacon to take care of Mary as part of the Developmentally Disabled Waiver Program. The government program pays caretakers to provide for people with development disabilities so they don't have to stay in an institution. Chacon made about $250,000 in 3 years.
You think that government is going to protect you, take care of you?
According to police, Chacon left Malero in a bathtub for days and developed these injuries. They put her in this van to sneak her across the border to get medical treatment.
Because they knew if they took her to a local hospital, they would be reported and they would lose their contract and they would lose their money.
She died at an El Paso hospital from a massive infection, according to investigators.
There's no scary movie, there's no book that is more grimmer than what I read.
Target 7 discovered that the state was not doing regular home visits. After learning of Malero's death, they inspected 6,800 patients and found 30 cases of confirmed abuse. Department of Health Cabinet Secretary Patrick Allen told Target 7 he's going to make sure regular visits will now occur.
What we need to do as a result of what's come to light is do a better job as an agency in overseeing that work.
Malero's family tells Target 7 there are other issues. For months, they were trying to see and talk to Mary, but Chacon would not let them. They said they contacted the state to try to get Mary out of the home.
And they said that they would not give Mary to me or to a family member, that she was her own person and that she could go wherever she wanted. And so I feel that they made a huge mistake in allowing Mary to stay with Angel.
Malero herself also reached out to Albuquerque attorney Adam Oki over Facebook.
I reached out to her. I said, "What's going on? How can I help you? Do you need help?" She didn't respond. So I know that something was going on. I know that they were hiding something. There's no other reason why she would. I didn't know Mary, right? I didn't know her personally.
Oki is now representing Mary's family, and he is considering filing a class action lawsuit against the state and the contractors they used.
But we need to make sure that we get justice for Mary and her family and to make sure that the system changes.
Chacon has been charged with neglect of a resident causing death. The Attorney General asked the judge to hold her until trial. Instead, the judge released her and ordered she be placed on an ankle monitor. For Target 7, I'm John Cardinelli.
The state has a hotline you can call if you believe an adult is being subject to abuse or neglect, and that number is 1-800-445-6242.